And after a few moments of technical difficulty of Aspen broadcasting a black square, hi and welcome to Salt.
Hello. That's the response you want now, wasn't it? Just so smooth and just slipped it right in there. And
yes, very nice. Very, I don't know. So here we are. Beautiful downtown Keene, Texas.
Yeah, a little gray out there today.
Yep, it is a wet and rainy day, and we are going to have a wet and rainy Christmas, I think.
No, it's supposed to be sunny for Christmas.
I thought it was the day before was wet and rainy.
Yeah, tomorrow is still wet and rainy.
Yeah.
I guess Christmas Eve will be wet and rainy.
Christmas Eve will be wet and rainy.
But
no
it will
snow
be
for us.
70 degrees out or some such thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a warm Christmas. Global warming has come to Texas.
Or El Nino, something, something.
Yeah, so anyway, so Aspen and I went to an antique store, and they have a couple of good ones close by over in Cleburne, and we just for fun sometimes we go over there, and I think initially it was pretty disheartening to go to an antique store and see stuff that you remember from your childhood in an antique store. I've kind of gotten used to it now, but it was kind of, really depressing when I first saw stuff. I'm like, oh, I had one of those. Wait, why is it in an antique store? My life can't be old enough to be an antique.
Is it?
Apparently so. Anyway, so it's been kind of fun to see some of the stuff. We saw, let's see, some of the things I didn't get pictures of was, they had games that I had remember playing as a kid. One was called Stratego. It was one of my favorite games as a kid. We almost got it. They wanted $16 for it.
Which was probably way more than what you would have paid for it back then.
Oh, yeah, no. I think the price tag still on it was like $4 or something like that, But I looked it up, and they're still selling them, but they wanted like $30 and $50, and then for the old ones they wanted like $100 and something dollars, and I was like, so we almost got it, but then Aspen talked me out of it. So,
well, I mean, all those table games that we don't play.
Yeah, it's actually, if you never played, it's kind of fun. It's like a upscale version of checkers. Is why we didn't get it. I was like, it'll be fun to play once or twice, but then after that, it's like, because it really is just kind of if you haven't played it, it's like checkers only with a couple of added twists to it. And then we bought another one a long time ago. We bought, The Inventors? Was that what it was called? The Inventors. And that was, I remember it being so much fun when I was a kid. And that's the one we played with Brittany and Randy when they were here. And we spent the whole time relearning how to play. And the memories came flooding back, like, oh yeah, this was kind of a difficult game to play. And so we played it once, and it's now in the trunk with all the other board games we never played.
Open our own antique shop.
Yeah, pretty soon. I do wish I had a lot of my stuff from way back then. It's pretty valuable now, some of those toys from back then. Wow. So, anyway. But yeah, we found some stuff, and so unfortunately for you, the first part of our broadcast is going to be taken up by going down memory lane, like some guy showing you a slideshow from his family vacation, and so strap in. It's going to be like that. One of the things we found while we were at the antique store was Christmas decorations that I had remembered we had as a kid, because our Christmas trees today are very different from the trees I had growing up.
How's that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Anyway, the first one I found, they were these little blue Christmas balls, and those balls were really kind of fragile. I mean, if you happened to, drop, they would shatter, crack, and the paint would come off, and I'm sure it was probably lead paint we were breathing in. And but we had the little blue ones, and they came in these boxes, and then they had these little red ones too, little red ones that came in boxes as well. And Aspen's a little slow on the uptake there.
You did it backwards.
I wanted the blue and then the red. And see, those are the ones that were, I remember taking off the tree and putting back in the boxes. And so we had, and I took pictures and sent them to Mom, and she said, yes, we had the blue, the red, and we also had green ones. But I didn't see any green ones in the store. But yeah, those were like in there, and like, wow, somebody hung on to those things and had them all and didn't break them. I'm wondering how that's possible, because we seem to break 2 or 3 every year just putting them on, taking them off. And then I also found a couple of things that I remember having as a kid. Aspen found a spirograph, and do you have a spirograph? Did you ever play with a spirograph?
Sure did. Those were fun.
Yeah. If you don't know what a spirograph, it's kind of a geometric drawing thing with rings or circles and arcs and all kinds of these, and they make these, fun looking not pictures really, but designs, I guess, Those made a comeback. I've seen them in like mini spirographs now you can buy at Target and stuff. And we're having that. And then I saw a Barbie camper. Since Barbie movie came out, they had a camper that I remembered my sister had, because I remember playing with it, because the one in the store was broken just like the one we had broke. It had a little, how campers have the side of it that comes out, like a little tent. You have the camper, and then you can drop it out, and there's like a tent part to the side when you camp. And they had it was this plastic kind of thing, and just after a while the plastic would rip because it was not the highest quality. We had one of those, and then all of that, and then Aspen found something she couldn't live without: a dino nugget, which I didn't even know was a thing. I knew, I have to show it now. This is the dino, do I have it right now? Dino nugget. Boom, boom, aka-laka-laka, boom. Boom, boom, aka-laka, boom, boom. She liked it. And I know they make, like the little chicken nuggets in dinosaur shapes. I knew that because I think Michael and Matthew used to eat those when they were little kids. But I had no idea it was whatever that is. But she had to have one, so we got it. And anyway, so made me think about, Christmas past and all this stuff. And so I went through and found some Christmas pictures from my early years. And our tree, we showed you pictures of our tree, I think, at some point last week or the week before. It's a little, and Miranda here likes to Christmas decoration shop.
Yeah, it's ever so much more fun to buy the ornaments than it is to actually put them on the tree and then take them off and put them away.
Yeah. And we have like wood ornaments.
Yeah, we have a handful,
And we have big balls.
Glass balls, sort of, yeah.
And then my mom has, like the Victorian era Better Homes and Garden Christmas tree every year. It's really nice. And Kathy, my other mom, she has 2 trees, and she's the same way, But these are all very different from the Christmas trees I had growing up. And so I think one of the earliest pictures I found, I'm still a baby, and Beth and Craig, I have no idea what they're playing. But that was one of my earliest Christmases, and you can see the tree is, kind of all that there in the background. Apparently Mom wasn't putting as much effort into the trees back then.
Well, I don't suppose, not when she had 3 small children.
Yeah.
Who probably wanted to take the tree apart.
Yes,
so.
Probably did.
Yes.
And then a little bit later, I had a Christmas which was the only time in my life I ever had an electric train. And I actually don't think it was mine. I think it was Craig's, and I was just playing with it. But yeah, I've always wanted a train, and I never have gotten one. It is so very sad. But now I wouldn't have anywhere to put it, so yeah. And, well, actually, we do have Thomas the Train. We got Aspen a Thomas the Train wood set, so I still have those. Anyway, there's a couple other pictures coming out later. That's my sister, Beth, next to, I think, the Christmas tree. And one of the things I remember growing up was that the whole family would end up getting together. It was, me, Mom, Dad, Craig, and Beth. But it would also be my grandmother, my grandfather, my uncle and aunt, my cousins. They would all come, and we had this big house at the time, and they would stay there overnight. And, Christmas Eve, and we all get up. And let's see, the one you're looking at now, that is the other one. The one you're looking at now is the downstairs of that house, which my mom hated, and I found slightly alarming. It was like red carpet, blood red shag carpet, and Dad had a bar down there, black leather stools, and it was like something out of a bad 70s police drama bar thing. But anyway, it was big, and so a lot of stayed down there, and that's where we had the Christmas. Let's see, the next one you can see was, I think that one shows a little bit of the tree. Like, we used to throw those paper icicle things on, and our ornaments were very different back then. I think little plastic candy canes and gingerbread men, and yeah.
Henry the dog.
And is that one with Henry? Well, that's because that was actually my sister's, but I loved Henry, and I would get it from her and all that. But it was actually my sister's, Henry the dog. I don't even know why Henry was a cartoon or something. I have no idea. I just really liked Henry. But years and years later, Miranda found one and got it for me for Christmas once, and I have that one. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it would be, I don't know how many years old now. Where did you find that?
I don't remember. I just looked up Henry the dog, found it somewhere. So
yeah, and it was my favorite all time. Of everything, it was my favorite stuffed animal. It's Henry the dog. Anyway, next one you're seeing, that's my grandmother, Mama. She was giving me a present. Now, it's this picture or the next one of those two. You can see that's a kind of a long, very long, large Christmas present, and I think it was that one, or it's possibly the next one, and it was wrapped in red and Santa and that kind of thing. So when I talk about a picture, that's when you throw it up. Thank you. I think I'd never trained her to do anything.
You didn't seem to finish.
I was one of these two I kept giving you, or the next one. One of those two were the year that it was my year to get the biggest present. I think that's kind of how we, one year Beth would have the biggest present, one year Craig would have the biggest present, next year I would have the biggest present, da 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 da. This was the year I think my dad thought it would be great to play a joke on me, and in a huge box, and then you open it in another box, and then when I finally got down to it, it was just, I think, a stick of, a pack of gum, and so it was ha ha ha, isn't that funny? I didn't think it was funny. It
wasn't funny at all.
No, it was my year, and I got a pack of gum. Anyway, it was one of those two. I think it was the long green one, but I think it. Anyway, the next one you can see a real picture. Like, that's a lot of what our tree looked like. Not nearly the kind of stuff we do now. You look back on it, it's kind of junky. And then, is this the last one? Oh. I guess I don't know if they made it. Some of those were like, we had a big tree that was one upstairs. And that's where we had a cathedral ceiling. We used to these really big, tall trees. And, but anyway, the last one, that's the most, like, that was the most, not recent, I can't even say recent, it was like 30 years ago. But, you know, when I was I think I was in college. Yeah, I think I was in college there. So me and Craig are at my grandparents' house, and he has his little Santa hat on because he always wanted to play Santa and hand stuff out. And I was just there to get through the day at this point, because that was after our parents' divorce and everything. It was just like, I will be there, I will arrive, I will physically be present. But yeah. Anyway, those were past Christmases from my childhood and how the things have changed.
Oh, they have. Now your stuff is in an antique store.
My supportive wife, ladies and gentlemen, here to make me feel better about things. I pour out my life history in Christmas, and she's like, yes, and now it's all in an antique store. Fine, you take over. I'm going to sit here and drink my water.
I think, first of all, we should double check your blood sugars. If you'd like to check those over there. Yeah. The world would appreciate it.
Oh.
It's on this side. I'm sorry.
123. We're good.
Okay, we are good.
Yeah.
Cool.
And now it's all you.
No lead-in.
No, you did.
Lead-in.
No, I belong in an antique store. I'm not giving you a lead-in.
I'm waiting for my lead-in.
I can't. I'm on a shelf in an antique store somewhere. My life being old and decrepit as it is.
Okay, well, earlier when I was desperately looking for a topic to talk about today, Brett mentioned he was answering someone's question on our Facebook post of
Lori.
salt.
Yes, Lori. Yeah. And if you're watching, Lori, I apologize. I haven't seen the other, like there were several things you posted for like a while, and I just saw them. So I answered the last one, but I was telling Miranda, it's like, we can answer some of the questions Lori asked, and that was, one was about, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is light and my yoke is easy.
What was her question exactly?
What does that mean?
Oh, what does that mean? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what does it mean in Matthew when Jesus says that, my yoke is easy?
Yeah, I got to thinking about it a little bit, and I thought, well, I actually listened to a sermon today where the speaker told a story about a Hollywood person of some sort. You'd recognize his name if I could remember it.
Simon Cowell.
Oh, okay. So there we go, Simon Cowell. Thank you, Brett, for remembering. He's not as antique-y as he is. So, anyways, let's see. He apparently said that, he's got this 14,000 square foot home in Hollywood, apparently, and he's got a garage with 4 or 5 cars in it, and these are not cheap cars. He's got a Bugatti, which I don't think I'd ever even heard of.
Yeah.
And a Ferrari. I forget the names of the other few of them, but none of them were anything cheap like a Mercedes or BMW or anything like that.
Hyundai.
So, way to go, Hyundai. Hyundai, yes, Hyundai. Or Toyota.
Yeah.
Mine was a great car.
You should get a Toyota instead of a Lamborghini.
That's right, absolutely.
Be more reliable.
Absolutely. But I thought I'd look up a Bugatti just to see how expensive they were.
Oh.
And I think a base price was like $3 million, and then $3.5 million.
They're investments, not cars. They're not automobiles. They're investments.
Okay. Well, their webpage played really pretty classical music. Very pretty. Yes. So anyways, he had all this stuff, and he also said that he'd get up early in the morning, and he would run his bathtub full of water, and then he would just sit there and watch some old cartoons like Flintstones or something, and he felt like he did this because they were what he had watched when he was a kid, and he felt like they brought him comfort. And he said he's got all this stuff, and yet basically it's that classic empty feeling on the inside, and there's nothing he can get that will make that go away. He said he felt like an asteroid just flying through the darkness of space, basically. And yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting, and I thought that actually went well with this verse, because when we don't have a relationship with Jesus, our emptiness is a heavy burden. So,
Well, and so my answer, like what I was typing in Facebook, the the big picture answer to that, what does Jesus mean when he says, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is light, my is easy, and is that in context in Jesus' day, that the way of salvation, according to the Pharisees, was very difficult. They had a lot of rules to follow and a lot of laws you had to keep, and it basically was impossible, to do so. And they were very works oriented and looking righteous and all that, and so salvation was very, very burdensome and difficult. And one of the things Jesus was doing was telling him that's not the way. My way is about a relationship. My way is about, you're loved because you are God's kids. That's why you are loved. And, what does God demand? To believe in his son, love your neighbor, love his, And that's why he was comparing, contrasting what the Pharisees said, salvation was like and what it was really like. And that's kind of the general sense. But then in the specific sense, it is when someone starts a relationship with you, the release of the emptiness that, they can experience out, apart from that, the things they're able to let go and stuff. Because are you at the point where you're going to say your catchphrase here?
oh, what was that?
How heavy? Well, I'll go ahead and say it.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
Because the weight of nothing can be very heavy.
Right, that emptiness,
Yeah.
and that it would seem to be nothing, and yet it's very heavy for
Yeah.
us. That kind of reminds me, like the whole work thing. It reminds me of Brett opening up his box after box after box after box and finding nothing. And what he ends up with, instead of a big gift like he thought he was going to get, he ended up with a pack of gum.
I
And
didn't even like gum.
And so that's us doing our own works. We keep thinking it's going to be, we're going to be opening it. Well, this is it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then it's nothing.
Yeah, where's the big payoff?
Yes, and apparently Brett is still carrying around a heavy burden over that one.
It was grape gum. I didn't even like gum, and I especially didn't like grape gum.
Yeah, okay, and also I found, usually we consider the yoke, and the yoke would be the beam basically that yoked up two oxen or such together, and so they could pull something together, pull something heavier than they would each be able to pull alone.
It distributed evenly the weight. Yeah.
Yes, and so what was also interesting though is that it also could mean, that same word could mean balance beam. And so just to look at it in a different way, a balance beam basically would be like when you would measure something, and when both sides become equal, now it's balanced, and so you would know that. And so basically that's, I'm going to relate that to the verse about, in my weakness, he becomes strong, if we want him to be, right, when we have that relationship with him. And when we're tempted, we can just go to him and his strength to overcome the temptation for us. And so that's where, instead of pulling that heavy load of good works and doing all the right and good things on our own, or becoming so overwhelmed with temptation that we just give in.
Or like I was in, or the weight of, guilt and shame or whatever, from past mistakes and, just past life, and that overwhelming weight of trying to carry, life on your own. All of that, it's like weighing you down.
Right. And so the forgiveness, when we accept that as well. So basically, so being yoked up to the world, I'm doing all the work. And yet, on the other hand, when Jesus came to the world and he died for our sins, basically all that work, the what I do to be more basically, when he died for my sins, he's the one who did all of the work. And basically, while Jesus died for my sins, I no longer have to pay for my salvation, which is something we can't afford to do anyways.
Yeah, but and that was sort of like the Pharisees' way was to try and make up for your shortcomings and faults and sins if you were good enough and kept the law enough and da da da. And again, yeah, it's the never-ending cycle of failure because, like you're saying, the only person who could pay that was Jesus, and he did something what we can't do.
Right. And so the one is having a relationship, or the heavy weight is not having a relationship with Jesus.
Right.
And so the light and easy yoke is having a relationship with Jesus. And so, of course, that involves the salvation, like we just talked about, and basically.
And.
Okay. Well, there's any number of things I wrote down here. I don't think I'm going to touch on, but basically, what I also found interesting as a little side note, when we have the relationship with Jesus, it's actually about him doing everything for us, and about us not doing anything at all. And that's what Psalm 23 is. And in the end, then that turns the chapter of Psalm 23 into a chapter about salvation, about where the Good Shepherd, or my oxen partner over here, as the one who's doing everything for me. And the yoke clearly is easy that way. You're looking at me and laughing at me.
That's Psalms 23 again. That's,
Yes.
just
I can't
how
have
many
myself-
times do we
I
go to
know,
Psalm
I know.
23? But it does
But
work.
you know what? It does work. It's
Yeah.
really fun, really, to see how many ways you can use that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's
fun.
true.
At least
Yeah.
I think it is. So,
Yeah.
so you guys must bear with me on occasion.
Are you going to do it?
Oh, I didn't feel like I really.
I'll do
well,
it.
okay.
I'm going to do it.
I don't feel like I really did it justice.
Oh, it's not.
I wasn't finished with it yet.
I
Okay,
read it.
keep in mind, I'm
It's
not
pretty
finished with
good.
it.
All right, so
It's okay.
this is like,
It's a beginning.
the Lord, Psalms 23 as a means of take my yoke upon you.
Yes, and our salvation.
All right,
Yes, and relationship.
so here's what she's written.
So far, it's just barely a beginning. It's not anywhere near finished.
So she says, the Lord is my shepherd. Let's say when I'm yoked up with Jesus, I shall not want. I'm yoked up with Jesus.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be on a t-shirt. I'm yoked up with Jesus. I like that. Yeah, that's actually catchy. I shall not want all the wanting that keeps me doing and getting to be. Getting to be?
The doing and getting it, or in order to be. Yes.
Doing and getting in order to be.
Just a little.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically me trying to take care of myself or be better than myself or get stuff, make
Yeah.
life.
Right. What Simon Cowell and others like him, and plenty of us do, is that we get more and do more in order to be more. And that's what a relationship with the world tells us. Because, I mentioned this before, I don't know how many weeks ago by now, but basically, that's pride. And pride has no strength on its own, which leaves us doing all the heavy lifting. Humility, on the other hand, has plenty of strength because that's who Jesus is and who the Good Shepherd is humble, as said right there in that verse. You will learn from me to have a gentle and humble heart. And that is what gives our souls rest. And so
Jesus does the heavy lifting.
yes, Jesus does the heavy lifting.
So why do you call me to come and get stuff and pick it up?
Because
Jesus does the heavy lifting.
yes, well,
Moving on. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Now, ordinarily when yoked up, I would be plowing the green fields. Could be corn. Could be yellow
Could be
fields.
corn.
Yeah. But Jesus has me lying down in the green pastures, giving me rest for my soul. Ah, okay. So instead of getting out there and working out, Jesus says, I lead you to green pastures. And he leads me beside still waters. He makes sure I'm not going to get thirsty for the things of this earth.
yeah. When we get thirsty for the things of this earth, the peace of not wanting is just gone.
He restores my soul to what? What does he restore to? You may be asking yourself.
What
We
did I
have the
write?
answer. Gentleness and humility.
Right. His heart.
Mm.
Yes. Which is what we originally would have been created to have.
Okay. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I am more likely to follow him when my soul is gentle and humble. Otherwise, pride has me busy chasing down the wide path rather than the narrow one.
That's true.
That's what we have to say about that. I like it for his name's sake, though. What do you think that means? For his name's sake.
Because for his, it's all for his glory and not for ours.
Yeah.
He leads us in paths of righteousness. You know, we think, the righteous path, that place where I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And we go check, 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 all the good things that we're doing on the righteous path, right? But that's not it at all. He leads us on paths of righteousness for his name's sake, because he's the one who's righteous, and all our little good this and good that is nothing.
Cool. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. In our weakness, when we see the strength of God, his rod and his staff are giving me comfort. I think that's part of the peace that passes understanding. That, knowing you have been able to lay down, the aches and the pains and the whatever of the past and the mistakes and everything, and now you can rest in green pastures and still water. And it's God that does all that, and it's the, his strength, not yours. That allows you to, be in that place
Right.
of peace. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies, the salvation of God on my behalf.
Yes, all those things that God serves on. Well, wait, that he defends us against our enemies, right? And that's God's salvation at work on our behalf. When we are tempted and we turn to him and he fights that temptation for us, that is his salvation at work on our behalf.
So we don't have to be afraid of our enemies. We don't have to be afraid of those things, those temptations and stuff. You anoint my head with oil, the oil that keeps the parasites out of the sheep's eyes so that it doesn't go blind.
Yeah, apparently the shepherds would pour oil on the sheep's head, and that would get, it did any number of things, kept bugs away in general, but there would be these little parasites that would want to get into the sheep's eyes, and that could, one, cause the sheep to go blind, and crazy too, I think, possibly. And so, yeah, that's once again what God and the Good Shepherd is doing for us.
My cup runs over. When I accept salvation and the strength of God, surely my cup runs over with all that he has done for me, all of his goodness and all of his mercy to me. On the other hand, all of my doing and getting never fills my cup, and it remains empty.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Yeah, and that's salvation, dwelling in the house of God for forever.
Cool.
Yeah. See how many more ways we can use Psalm 23.
Psalm 23, yeah. Anyway.
It's a great Christmas chapter.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I'm surprised we didn't go to Abraham. We used to always go to Abraham.
I decided I probably used Abraham a few too many times. Yeah. But that was fun too when I was on that kick.
Yeah, Abraham was good.
How many ways could you illustrate Abraham's life? Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. So I guess Christmas is, 2 days?
Yeah, tomorrow's pre-Christmas.
Pre-Christmas.
Or Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So maybe where you're at, you've got, Christmas weather and maybe even some snow. I don't know. I'm not even sure where there's snow now. I assume in the mountains of Colorado.
Yeah,
but...
well, Joy says they're actually probably supposed to get some snow on Christmas Day.
Ah.
So, Fort Collins, Colorado, go there if you want snow for your Christmas.
I don't know about North Carolina, like where some of my family's at, and Indiana. Indiana might get snow. I don't know. They seem far enough north they might. But no snow for Little Aspen. It's very sad.
No rain even.
No rain. She gets to go out in 70-degree weather and see the
Poor
cactus.
Aspen.
The cacti, the Christmas cactus. That's
Well,
what we have here in Texas.
I still have a couple things blooming in the pots outside.
Yeah.
Yes, some basil is doing quite well, blooming pretty blue flowers, and the lantana. For any of you who know anything about flowers, lantana was supposed to do really, really well in the heat of the summer of Texas. So I thought, well, I'm going to give this a try. I don't think it bloomed all summer. As soon as the weather cooled down, now it's blooming like crazy.
Yeah. We were going to take her on to the Polar Express thing they have down here in Dallas. But it's $100 a ticket, so that would have been $300 for like a 30-minute train ride.
Yeah, there's things like, I mean, I guess we just haven't really discovered any neighborhoods with good lights yet around here. But, I saw an advertisement for a place with lights, and I was like, oh, well, it's a drive-through Christmas thing. Well, let's see how much that is. Oh, they wanted you to know it's only $50 per car. That's all.
But a car, you could cram a bunch of people in a car. $50. It used to be free. You just put your lights up so people could see them.
Yeah.
What is this charging money to go? Christmas spirit.
Anyways, and then if you wanted the special glasses, and so you could actually see more, whatever the more happened to be, and popcorn, I think, and something else, you had to pay more for that.
Well, at least on the Polar Express, your $100 got you a souvenir mug they served hot chocolate in.
I'll try not to be too impressed.
I'm sure the hot chocolate was like Swiss Miss from a packet or
And
something.
next thing you know, that souvenir mug is going to be at the antique shop.
At the antique shop, that's right. That's what it'll be. All right. Anyway, well, thanks for joining us and being with us. And hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend and a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll be here. And hopefully we'll have some fun things to talk about next week.
Of course we will.
All right.